Hello, this is John with Southern Exposure Technical Services in association with Barudan America. This video tutorial is going to cover how to set your presser foot heights on the Z-head embroidery machine for both single heads and multi-heads. This is going to cover the two models of the BED series and the BEV series. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So here we have the needle case for the Z-head embroidery machine. What you're going to do after you take off the front cover is you're going to grab the upper shaft, that chrome bar that connects all the sewing heads, and you're going to rotate it down to 0 degrees. Now you can use this by viewing the degree wheel on the end of the machine, or if you have the machine out of drive, which I always recommend when you go to work on the machines for safety reasons, it'll tone at 0 degrees. You can pull the machines off of 0 by about 1 to 2 degrees to have it not sit there and continuously tone out at you, which would be quite annoying. And that's not going to affect how you set your pressure foot heights. But as you can see there, I'm using a 2.5 millimeter Allen key, or you can use a 90-degree wrench, Allen wrench if you wish. But I'm just loosening the top black cloth hold set clamp, and I'm using my finger to push the pressure foot up and down. That's all that you have to do. But for the Z-head series of machines, you have to do it for each individual needle bar. So that means as you go down to each sewing head and you push down on the needle bar to lock it down in place, then you make your adjustment. You have to go to your automat and then go to the next needle, then go back to the upper shaft, rotate it back down to 0 degrees, plus or minus 1 or 2, and reset them all again. Unlike the S head, which is the next generation of needle cases for the machines, you can set it by the K4 cam. Here on the Z heads, you do have to go to each needle bar individually. So now some people have said that that's actually a good thing. Some people have said, yeah, it's so much easier just to set it and forget it for one time. I don't recommend that you actually have to set pressure foot heights for, certain needles or anything of that nature. Once you actually do get them all set pretty evenly, then there's really not a job that the machine can't run when it comes to sewing flats, caps, puff foam, things of that nature. Now, granted, the thicker the material you use, then yes, you do want to actually make your adjustment with your pressure foot. And you can do it again, even in the middle of anything. It's not going to knock out any hook timings or things of that nature, but just that small little gap. Push it up, push it down as you need. That small little gap, about a business card. So if you take a business card, you could actually stick it in there. I could take a pair of scissors and cut a little slit in the business card and slide it in there, so that when you press the pressure foot down, there's a fun word. Press the pressure foot down, you don't get that massive gap like you see there. You would get it to where it just contacts the paper of the business card, and that's going to be a very good starting height point for both flats and caps. Now again, if you start doing thicker materials, or you jump into more than, I'd say, 5 millimeter puff foam, 6 millimeter puff foam, and you start doing that, then yes, you're going to want to raise it up a little more, or else you're going to have a lot of pressure being slammed down onto the material. But you definitely don't want to go too high, because if it goes too high, then the biggest issue you're really going to run into is the fact that when the needle comes down, it's not being held, the material's not being held in place by the pressure foot. So that's its purpose, is to hold the material in place so it makes a clean stitch. And that can also be the case if you bend a pressure foot or something like that. But if you go to do a trace and it bends a little bit and you don't actually bend it back flat to where it's nice and level, you can actually have issues with your stitch quality as well. But again, all you're doing is just grabbing it, lifting it up and down, and then tighten the screw back down. Now when you go to tighten it, you don't have to go super tight. You can just snug it down. There's no need to go super tight on these at all. I will say it's easy to strip these screws out. if you go too tight with it and you then later on go back to readjust it, you can strip these out, which then just grab a pair of vice grips, lower it down to 0 degrees as you see there, which gives you clearance. And with the vice grips on there, you can actually loosen it back up, and you can get the replacement screws from shopbarudan.com. But that's what it's going to look like when I set up a machine at that height. And this is something I check with all yearly services and things of that nature that we do. And that's it. Once you do that, again, then you'll just move it to the next needle, roll the upper shaft back down to 0 degrees. Obviously, all sewing heads do need to be on. That would be a key, or else the needle bar driver won't engage into it. But you just grab a hold of that and pull it down, set your height as you need it, go to the next one. So a couple of tips and tricks on this. Okay, excuse me a second. Been dealing with a cold here recently. A couple of tips and tricks for you to understand that when you go to tighten down the pressure foot, when you tighten that down, the needle, what's that called? The cloth hold set clamp, I think it's called. Yeah. Cloth hold set clamp, or the black bar at the top of the screw. It actually can be twisted to the side. So when you actually go in there and you twist it, you want to make sure it's a nice even twist with your Allen wrench so that you're not canting it to the side. Okay. You'll know that happens whenever you go to switch to the next needle and the needle bar the needle bar itself just goes up a little bit, or it's hard to move. And to fix that, again, just bring it back to that needle, 0 degrees, bring it all the way down. Okay. Loosen that screw again. Make sure, again, if your pressure foot height changes a little bit, you can actually change it back, as you need to. And then slowly tighten it back. So you don't have to wrench it down, because you can cause it to cant to one side or the next. And the problem that will definitely cause is when the machine's embroidering, now you've got that needle bar going up and down through the needle case at an angle. And that's going to cause a lot more friction, and it will cause wear and tear. In the very worst case scenario, it'll seize up your needle bar, and that could put you down permanently until you get a technician out. Or if you yourself are technically inclined, now you're going to have to go there. You got to remove the front cover, loosen everything up, take out the needle bar driver assembly. You definitely have to take that out to be able to get that needle bar knocked up and out of the way. So that's a whole mess of stuff. That's a pretty big job, well, medium size for a certified technician. It's a pretty medium sized job, but definitely not something that you need to have, because you'll lose production time, the damage to anything that happens, and it's not fun. So if you choose to go ahead and set your pressure foot heights on the Z-head machine, take your time with it. There is no rush with this. Rushing causes issues. Quality doesn't come from a rush job. Quality comes from patience and observing and being detailed in what you do. So that's what we do here at Southern Exposure Technical Services. We don't rush. We take our time, make sure it's done right first time, almost every time. We're not perfect, but that's the tutorial right there. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can contact us here at Southern Exposure directly. For any actual bigger technical support, feel free to give Barudan Technical Support a call. Again, the numbers are going to be listed down below. Give them a call. They work from 9 o'clock Eastern time till 5 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Email as well. You can email them at techsupport.barudan.com. Or again, you can reach out to John, Scott, or Jonathan. We're here to help as best as we can. Till then, leave a like on this video if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you disliked it. Leave a comment and tell me how I can do better. And go check out my other videos that I'm making. So till then, hope you have a good day. Happy embroidery.